When did you realize you were in love?
Honestly, love is so crazy because it found me when I was in the befores.
I was young, so I knew I was in love when I had to see him all the time. I had to call him all the time. If I didn't hear from him, I felt a certain type of way. Just like your friends, your family, if you don't hear from them, you feel some type of way. So that's how I knew I was in love.
We got to a certain point and I felt like days would be hard without you or days would be confusing without you. So I was like, well, this is like, I should probably start saying love instead. Like, because we've evolved past that talking phase.
When I didn't want to do anything, but just like be around that person, not go to class, not eat sometimes, just kind of just want to be like near them all the time.
When certain things that mattered less because of that person, or certain things matter more because of that person. So
when I felt like I couldn't do anything without him, I accepted him for all his flaws because he accepted me for all my flaws, and I never felt what I felt with him with anybody else.
With him, I could be comfortable. I was looking up to him because he was in college and I knew that I wanted to go to college. I'm like, yo, you're in college and you look like me and you act like me. Like, okay, I could do this.
The amount of consistency I showed, because that was very, very rare for me. Yeah.
How I knew we liked each other was because we would be at track practice and we became best friends first. Like, that best friend shit is a trip. I remember that we just confessed, like he was like, I think I like you, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I like you too, whatever, until we started kissing. That's the first thing we ever did was kiss.
Were you the first to say I love you, or was he?
I probably wasn't the first person to say I love you.
I think it was a one-way. I think we both loved each other. Just I loved that person more.
It felt pretty one-sided, and with me being the one that was really in love, I was the first to say I love you.
He was absolutely the first one to say.
I think he was probably the first to say I love you before I said it. I always gotta make sure they say it before me, just in case I don't look stupid.
I'm always the first one to say I love you. I don't know why, but I think it's just because of how I was raised, you know what I mean? Like, I have so much love inside of me to give to people. Like, when I meet somebody that I really love, I'm not afraid to confess my love to them. Even if it's first, if it don't last, you know? I loved you, so.
At one point, did your first love relationship begin to dissolve, or has it?
I think we had this talk on the hill, and once we opened up and we realized what it was downhill from there. Mm-hmm. Just had to have that talk. We haven't spoken in a while.
When we started fighting at North Lake Mall, he wanted to take me home, but I had told my best friend to take me home so I can change and get ready. So by the time he come get me, we can just go where we wanted to go. He didn't like that. He pulled up to the mall. When my best friend pulled up to the mall, he saw me get in a car. He stopped in front of us and we just started fighting at the mall. So that's when I knew that probably this wasn't gonna work anymore.
And we started adding a little bit too much into the mix. We were a couple that was in ballroom, we were a couple that was social, we were a couple that mixed and mingled, dabbled in, you know, inviting people in every once in a while. So it was a situation where once things got a little muddy, we kind of started seeing the icky, nasty parts of each other.
I felt he was cheating on me, or like, just some things weren't adding up, like, you know, it just had like a feeling, like an intuition, like type of thing. Like something wasn't sitting right with me, and I didn't know exactly like what it was. So I started like going through his phone, and of course you do that, you're gonna find something. So, you know, I found something that I didn't like, and yeah. I think it started to dissolve when I realized my self-worth. Yeah, when I realized the self-worth, I'm like, you gotta go. It's like, you either gonna step up to the plate or you gotta go. And he didn't step up, so I moved on.
All right, so I felt like it began to dissolve once we actually went into high school. Like, all right, we were cool that summer, we ran track, but on another note, when it comes to men, I'm very competitive. I'm not afraid to admit it. And he was competitive also. So by us, you know, at first we were once on the same team, we went to different high schools, so then it made it that we had to compete against each other, you know? So I felt like it was always gonna be a certain barrier there. And his mom and my mom couldn't see things eye to eye. Once they found out about our relationship, you know, she felt like I turned her son into the devil. And my mom was like, well, baby, they must both be devils then, because it takes two to tango. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I kind of got pushed away by his family.
Things weren't the same anymore. I went off to college, so now my boyfriend at the time was a sophomore in college and I'm a freshman. And I don't know if you're watching it, if you've been to college, but if you have, your freshman year of college, it's lit. Like, you're not trying to have no boyfriend. And I don't think that I understood that when I was a senior in high school and when he was a freshman in college, because, you know, I was like, what you mean you don't want to talk to me on the phone? You freshman, I don't care. But when it was my turn, he had already had his fun. So it was given very much, you need to sit down somewhere. I'm like, no, it's my turn. And then we just started butting heads.
Did you know that person was the one for you at that time?
I probably felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
I probably still be wondering sometimes if that's the case, but I don't give him that much clout.
I think you know the person's for you when you give them the absolute nerve and they don't go nowhere. Because, I mean, we're both very interesting people. You know, we have very different thoughts sometimes. And we can kind of like butt heads on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, those buttings aren't the foundation. Like, we can definitely move on from it. So when you find someone who's able to deal with all of you and don't want to back away, that's perfect.
Well, they're not the one for me because we broke up. But at that moment, I knew because didn't really look at anybody else the same like I looked at him. Even if I did try to mess with other people, I would feel really bad inside because I knew that I cared for him more than anything. So it was a no for me, and I just knew that he was the one for me.
Did you ever feel remorseful about your first love relationship in any way or situation?
No, I didn't feel any regret with that relationship. I felt like it was necessary in a way for me to kind of, because I felt like I would kind of change myself to appeal to what I thought he would like. And in that process, I kind of lost myself. And then when I broke up, I had nothing to come back to because I wasn't myself anymore.
I only felt remorseful about it solely because we were once friends. And once we became like lovers and stuff, I think it put a hinder. Like, we didn't know the hindrance that we were putting on each other, but us trying to be so young, you know, and being together as men is not something that your parents are gonna agree with. And then it's not like we could take care of ourselves. So it's like we had to listen to what our parents said, basically.
Do I have any regrets? Absolutely not. I think we are better people because of that situation. And I hope that going forward, myself and for him, we can give those lessons to somebody else and make them very happy.
I don't think that I'll ever regret anything about being in a relationship with him because although we're not together right now, he did teach me more about myself. He taught me how to stick up for myself, be more boisterous or more vocal when it comes to how I feel because I'm gonna let you know.
No, I never felt remorseful about the relationship at all because my first love is probably the best relationship I did have. He taught me a lot. He taught me what somebody actually feel is to love you besides your family or your friends. So I look at him as a guide to everybody else. That's probably why I'm not in a relationship now, because nobody else lived up to that expectation.
Does your first love or relationship have the same foundation today as it was when you first met it?
Hell no. Hell no, I do not base my first love off of current relationships. I was so young, so naive. I didn't even initially like him. I liked his best friend, but he was nice. He was grimy shit, you know. And I grew to love him. And now my morals are just totally different.
No, I look at relationships totally different now. Like back then it was more physical. Like what you look like, the appearance. Now it's like what's behind the mask, like any kind of substance to you. So I look at things like that more.
My view of love today is a lot different than it was when I first started. It has shifted with my life experience. So now that I'm looking for a different kind of love, I can't hold the same value. Because before it was all seen love. My parents were married for 27 years. So I had a good example of what love was supposed to look like, but not for my life, just for two people that I held in high regard. So to try and base what I saw for their love in my life worked kinda in the beginning, but not so much when it started getting a little bit more realistic.
Yes, most definitely. I think every day in our relationship, we are building off that, especially right now more than ever, especially because he's not directly with me, because he's doing the things that he needs to do. But being able to stay strong and keep our communication so solid, that's always been a key factor for us. So that has been the burden, but we keep it strong.
How did this relationship change you for the better or worse?
It changed me for the better for sure, because this relationship has made me grow so much and put so much into caring, so much into being more human in a way that I'm able to grow emotionally, mentally, and physically with someone who knows me and wants the best for me. And it's different when you have someone else pushing you to do better.
I became a little bit harder after my personal experience. I feel like I was on my grind about my books and my education. I was in college, it was my freshman year, that was his sophomore year, so I was like, okay, I don't know if I really like Clemson right now because there's not that many people that look like me here, and not just because I'm Black, but as a Black gay man, like there wasn't that many Black gay men at Clemson, and so I didn't know if I liked it there. And so with me breaking up with him, I was like, you know what? I'm about to make it work. I'm about to get involved in school. I wasn't really trying because I was so far up his ass. So then, let me go get my cheerleading on. Let me go pledge. Let me go get into organization, Clemson Black Student Union, and just let me make a name for myself in the community.
What was a major takeaway from your first love relationship?
I think the biggest takeaway is take your time. Really take your time to get to know the person. Like, I really value getting to know someone versus we're together, because you may get to know me and it may not like me, and vice versa. So you really got to take your time to get to know a person.
I learned a lot from my first relationship, first love. I think that I learned patience, and I also learned a lot about myself as far as like standing up for myself and standing up for what I believe in.
Don't ever let nobody disrespect your family, because the thing was, I grew up in a household where for a long time it was just me. I was the middle child. My older brother was disabled and my younger brother was disabled. And I would overlook the hurtful things that my lover would say at a young age because I thought I loved him. When I grew up, I felt like I didn't. But it's just like, you gotta take a stance. Like, if somebody doesn't respect your family, your mom, the people that basically brought you here and is your background and foundation, I feel like those aren't good people. And that's the only thing that I would say would be a takeaway, was stand up for your family. You know what I'm saying? And stand up for what you believe in.
You cannot lose yourself in what you think a relationship should be, the other person wants, or you cannot get disconnected from a bigger picture for yourself. I loved early. I was 21, 22, 23, 24 in my first relationship leading up to 25. There was a big period of self-discovery for myself. So to love somebody and to try and give myself to somebody when I was still figuring out who that somebody was, it was very confusing for the both of us.